Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Always exciting to see two Tier 6 Basic come up on the 9-year anniversary calendar. I want to start off by thanking everybody who has been so kind. If you haven't seen my community page yet, I posted a new engagement photo of Israel and I as we continue to end 2023 on a high. And, you know, my activity on YouTube in terms of the amount of work I put in behind the scenes on my channel has slowed down 80 to 90% since the summer, and I'm not going to say it'll slow down another 80 to 90% next year, because if that's the case, the channel won't exist. But it is the case that I'm going into a new year for the first time engaged to Israel, and at the same time also for the first time moving two different families into two different houses. And so I don't know what the channel is going to look like next year. I just know it's going to be sporadic. There'll be some days where it's like I never left YouTube in this new era, and other days where you go, oh wow, it looks like Prof hasn't broadcast in a week. And that wasn't like him for the first 6 years, and that's because we live in a different world than we did in the first 6 years. If you will humor me for a second, though, I love OG champions that maybe don't get their due. One of the greatest examples of this is a cosmic champion that I swear is just so much fun to use, even though I've never ranked him up and probably never will rank him up, and that's Symbiote Spidey. This guy's one of those champs that if you just gave him a little bit more utility, could be God tier. I mean, I'm not saying that he would be in Battlegrounds because he has essentially no defensive value whatsoever, but the armor break duration with the critical rating on the special 2 is special. And if you want to have some fun, just parry heavy like 20 times, then do a special 2 and see that insane big yellow number appear. But the other champion, and this is not a cosmic champion, but a science champion that I've always loved, and he was buffed 6-7 years ago, but still lacks in some areas, is a champion that I didn't awaken for a long time, and now he's 660, mainly thanks to a previous featured crystal that I just kept getting Luke Cage, and that is, of course, Luke Cage. So that's relevant because today we had our newest balance update out for Photon and Vox. And Photon is definitely, out of the two of them, the most popular and sought after. And the MCOC team said Photon has immediately made her impact felt on the battle realm. She was aimed at being one of the toughest battlegrounds and war defenders that needed a hard counter. She did this by revisiting the ability to turn off dexterity, much like Heimdall, Domino, Void, and Jabari, while also adding some modern twists. Alongside defense, Photon was also aimed at being a strong attacker, countering a lot of the meta mystic threats like her neutralize immunity and Sunder debuff. Looking at her data, she has clearly hit these goals. Because of that, Photon will be staying as is. An even smaller paragraph for Vox. Vox will also see no changes. They targeted dealing high versatile damage that was easy to access while still making room for skill expression. Skill expression sounds like something you'd say about like an art painting. To allow masterful players to take them into more matchups and squeeze out more damage. Vox's success against both tech matchups that highlight utility like Omega Sentinel, but also in more general tough defender matchups like Thing, indicate Vox has all the tools at the right strength for long-term viability. And then what's next? Both champions with no changes means that we're happy to share that Luke Cage justice, baby. Luke Cage is getting a moderate rework timeline. January with 42.1, February 43.0. By the way, we used to talk about patch 12.0 all the time in this community. We're on patch 42 and 43. What? March, which is my birthday month. Shameless plug for my 36th birthday month. Lord help me, when I started this YouTube channel, I was in my 20s. One final note, starting with Luke Cage, updates to old champions will also include a follow-up review to make sure they're having the intended impact. For example, if we update an older champion's damage target, we want the opportunity to identify whether they're hitting that target and to adjust if needed, which means maybe a second buff, which I think has been missing from champions even like Yellow Jacket's buff. Just like with new champions, this allows us to make sure the best version of that champion arrives in the contest. BAMF. BAMF. I think that's the first time I've seen that ending to a post. So, the bottom line is, it's all about Luke Cage, baby. And I think he's not going to be, a beyond God tier attacker or defender necessarily, but I think he could use some tweaks. he's a fun champion, like the aforementioned Symbiote Spidey, that maybe isn't going to make a top 10 list, but I love using him, even if it's just the arena. So, yay for the Luke Cage update. Shout out to my man Brian Shadowstrike for always keeping me updated on the forums. Have a great rest of y'all's night/morning/day, depending on what time you're viewing this video.